My name is Kim Csage, Mrs. Csage to my students, and this is my second year teaching at the high school. I was the English teacher at the alternative high school 28 years before that, so this is my 30th year. I also was a person who had breast cancer, and I was diagnosed in 2014, and it was a very hard time to go through. So when I was diagnosed, I knew something was wrong, and it was, you know, like one of those pains that just didn't go away. And I went to the doctor, and of course you're sent to a specialist, and you have your biopsies and you have your tests. And by the time I got the news, I already knew what it was. And I was referred to oncology, where I met some of the most incredible people, the doctors, the nurses, the medical workers, the people who just take your blood pressure were just all amazing. They make it a wonderful place to be, even though you're there for a horrible reason, if that makes any sense. I was stage 3, but initially they didn't tell me that. When I asked what stage I was, my doctor said, "We're gonna call it 2B. I didn't learn until the end, after I had completed all of my treatment, and somebody was just reading through my chart and said, "So I see you were stage 3." And I about had a panic attack right there, and then I realized, thank you for not sharing that with me in the very beginning. But honestly, the hair part was horrible. And there are a lot of lasting effects of chemo. The chemo I had was, when my nurse administered it, she wore a hazmat suit and goggles and a mask. I mean, we see people in masks every day today, but you know, in 2014, 2015, this was shocking. She was covered from head to toe, and she said, basically the chemicals that are going into your body are they're so toxic and so dangerous. I mean, and they are meant to kill. They are meant to kill your cells. And I remember in the beginning, I knew I was going to lose my hair, and I had heard about something called cold capping, where you could get this dry ice and put it in caps and save your hair. And I remember my nurse Tracy asking me, "Why would you not want the chemo to go into every part of your body?" And I tell people I love my hair. I know I got the big 80s hair. I know I do, but I've always liked my hair. And I can remember sitting at a baseball game, watching my son play baseball at Marshall. And it was about 10 or 11 days after chemo, and it was really windy, and my hair was blowing away in the wind. And it was just, and I hadn't really come out and told anybody yet at that time what was going on. And that was really hard. So when treatment was done, we went to Florida for spring break, and I'd been wearing a wig up until then. I had 13 wigs. And I said, when we get to Florida, my hair had just started to grow out, and I'll give you a little picture of that. It was like a buzz cut at this point. And I said, I'm going to take my wig off in Florida, and I'm going to, for the first time, and I put like a little bandana around, and that's what I wore, you know, for a month or so until it grew out a little more. Overall, I was totally released from oncology this summer. And I could have been released last summer, was my 5 years, but with COVID and everything, they kept me on for another year. So I'm totally released. Somebody asked me, are you cured or are you in remission? And I had to think about that for a second. And in my mind, remission it's kind of like on pause. And I said, I'm not going to choose to think of being on pause. In my mind, I'm cured. I beat cancer.